In this video, I will show you how to process RSS feeds with unlimited items and upload those directly via RAGus AI into Voiceflow in clean, structured, and tabular format, so that later you can build, for example, e-commerce product recommendation chatbots and use and leverage advanced metadata filtering Voiceflow offers, and, for example, use dynamic carousels and mainly achieve maximum RAG accuracy with zero hallucinations. So first you will need to log in into RAGus. You click on the Start Free Trial. You will log in via your Gmail and create your organization. RAGus will take you by hand through the onboarding, and first you will land onto the billing and subscription. In order for you to basically use and leverage all the scrapers and the RSS feed and automate the entire process of your knowledge base, I would recommend to try the free trial for the specialist subscription, actually, because it has all of the necessary things to do so, mainly the so-called RSS Reaper, how we call it, and task scheduler in order to automate the entire process. So in order to use the RSS scraper in combination with task scheduler so that you can automate the overall knowledge base ingestion process from scraping all of the items from RSS into the knowledge base and set it, for example, every 5 minutes so that it executes on autopilot while you are doing something else, you will need to hop on this specialist plan because it has all of the features and capabilities RAGus has to offer. Basically, you go on this button, start 5-day free trial, you take that you understand, agree with the conditions, click the button, and if you have received a discount code, you will just enter that here and that percentage amount will be deducted from your monthly subscription. Then you just input your billing details and you are set to start using RAGus with all of its capabilities. Then we will need to go to the settings and the API keys tab, and you will need to fill in your API keys in order to properly execute the scrapers and the RSS scraper, right? So for this use case, you just can go down, and the necessary keys you will need to put in are OpenRouter API key and Gina API key primarily. So let's look what the services are and where you can get these API keys. RAGus basically encapsulates multiple website scraping providers into one no-code, simple-to-use UI platform, and otherwise you would need to use these website scraping providers individually via custom code, use their APIs, learn their documentation, and that's not needed. Only thing you need to do is go, for example, to this website scraping provider called Gina.ai, and you log in via your account, you generate API key. So let's do that. You log in into your account and you copy-paste your API key into RAGus. RAGus also heavily uses LLMs under the hood in order to properly chunk and enrich your data with rich metadata, and you can also switch to individual LLMs via the no-code UI. But in order not to include and create API key from each individual provider, you just can go to this openrouter.ai URL. This is basically a unified interface for all LLMs on the market currently, and you can just create one API key, input it into the platform, and you are set to go. So you just create an account, you go to keys, generate your key, and copy-paste that also into RAGus. After you have created both accounts for Gina and OpenRouter, you have copy-pasted your API keys. Only thing that's left for you to generate is your own RSS feed, and that will be generated based on your redactional system, which you have built your e-commerce store in, for example. And that can be WooCommerce, that can be ShopTet or Shopify, or any kind of other website or redactional system that you use. You need to generate the RSS feed there, and you need that URL. In order to upload the RSS feed into particular AI agent or chatbot in Voiceflow, you need to head over to Chatbot Dashboard tab. In here, you can see all of your agents connected from Voiceflow into RAGus AI. As you can see, we have quite lots of clients and chatbots connected in here. You can recognize that by the knowledge bases connected in here as well. You can see and check, you and your client, of course, the conversation transcripts with this icon, the advanced analytics, and other advanced tools that any AI agency needs. Basically, we've developed those for our own use cases, and now you can use them as well. And you need to add a new chatbot in the first place. So you click on the icon, create new chatbot, you enter in the chatbot's name, you enter in the Voiceflow project ID. It's possible that this form will be tidied up and a little bit restructured in the future so that it looks more clean. But right now, this is Voiceflow project ID, so put that in. Select the owner of the chatbot. Will only see those chatbots or agents that basically belong to him, right? So after you assign this to your client's email that you've created a basically profile for him, he will only see those chatbots or agents that belong to him. Then you input the respective Voiceflow API key of that project or agent, and you can also override the default API keys that you've put into the settings previously for specific agents or chatbots via inputting them over here as well if you would want higher level of control or granularity. But you don't have to do that now. You can also set up like further settings over here. That's not currently needed right now. So you can just create a chatbot, and now you will be set basically to upload the specific chatbot's knowledge base with that RSS data. This example RSS feed generated from this WooCommerce electronic store has over 4,000 products in it. And let's be honest, you wouldn't be able in any way, shape or form to get all of these products just using Voiceflow and its native scraper. It's like basically impossible to do in a structured, clean, tabular format. So you would either need to custom code your website scraping logic using these website scraping providers like Gina or Filecrawl or anything like other similar to this. But with RAGus, you can just set up the RSS scraper in 2 minutes and you are good to go. So I will show you how to do this. You just copy this URL and you go back into RAGus into the RSS scraper that's in this tab knowledge base. So you click on knowledge base and you can see that you have already connected properly your API keys. You can recognize that if the open router is ticked and Gina AI is ticked, and you will go to this RSS Reaper item. Once you've landed into this RSS Reaper tab, you will just input your configuration name. We will create our first RSS scraping configuration that you will be later able to automate via the task scheduler and set it, for example, to run automatically every 5 minutes. But first, you will need to create this configuration in order to use it later in automated way. So you will just enter, you can type in anything to name the configuration. Just I typed in RAGus RSS scraping demo, and you will input and paste your RSS feed URL. Then you will choose the knowledge base type, because in RAGus what's really cool is that you can use so many knowledge bases and they are coming with the integrations every day basically. So let's take the Voiceflow KB in this case, because we are building Voiceflow e-commerce product recommendation chatbot, for example, and you tick and choose your chatbot on your account. So let's pick, for in my use case, RAGus demo template, and you can also limit the amount of items for each table, because Voiceflow has some limit. I think, I'm not sure, maybe it's dozens of thousands of items in one table, but you can just let it be 0 and RAGus will automatically have no limit. So then you click on Analyze for the RSS Reaper to analyze the structure of your RSS feed and recommend you which should be the searchable fields and which should be the metadata fields for later filtering and optimized structure. After the analysis is done, the RSS Reaper has detected the schema that would be optimal for the Voiceflow database to use. So as you can see, the RSS structure has been divided into the searchable and metadata fields. You can also shuffle in between these categories like this. You can click on it. If I would like to have the title a searchable field, I would just click on it. I can also change data types as I want, but in the default, these data types have been selected to be optimal. So basically, the main difference between searchable and metadata fields is that searchable fields will be used by Voiceflow vector database to be used for searching the user queries, and metadata fields you can later use and leverage for metadata filters. For example, if I would have a Sony camera in this e-commerce, I could create a metadata filter via intermediate AI step that would create a filter on the fly. If user would type, I'm looking for a Sony camera, so the filter would be created with category that would be Sony, and basically that could be our filter. So that's why that category should be in these metadata fields. If you are satisfied with the current version of the schema, you just click on Confirm the schema and you create your first configuration. After your first configuration has been created, you can just click on play and the RSS scraper will start to run, and you can just scroll down to see the logs basically. So now you are seeing the job is running and the RSS Reaper or scraper has started running. You will see gradually how the individual items will be processed in batches. As you can see, in this example RSS, we have over 4,000 items, so they are being processed very quickly, as you can see. So it takes only, for example, if you have thousands of items, this process could take a couple of minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes. So it would be still appropriate and viable to automate this in task scheduler in 5-minute intervals. So our first RSS scraping job has been completed, so let's head over to Voiceflow and check the results. So as you can see, the new table has been created with the name of the configuration, and I have all of these individual chunks in their own atomic chunks with all of these searchable fields. You can see I have actually over 4,000 items, and you can see all of these neat, structured and clean items of products. And when I hover over one of each of them, you can see that these are actually the searchable fields on the right, as I'm just hovering over them, and these will be used for the agent and the user to query over them. And on the left in the tooltip, you can see the metadata fields actually. So we can use, for example, the brand as for the filtering later when the user would like to search via brand, for example. And you can also leverage all these metadata fields in your response generation in the agent, right? So you can have a link for each and every product, and you can use, for example, dynamic carousels, and these links values will be used basically for the visit the product button, right? And you can use all of these prices and stock quantity and other information also for your agent, right? But if you have some really like highly volatile and changing fields, for example, that could be actually stock or some price. If that's really sensitive, I would recommend to go through the route of the actually using your directional system API, or so for this example, it would be WooCommerce API. But for all other fields and the if you want the ability for user to search in conversational way through your agent, you will need to use vector database in the first place, and that's where Voiceflow comes in. But in order to achieve for you the maximum RAG accuracy, you will need to have your chunks in clean and structured format. So now only thing that's left is actually to automate this entire process of the RSS scraping and set it up to run for every, let's say 5 minutes, 15 minutes, depends on your use case. But if you want the products to be updated in regular fashion and for the values, prices, stocks to be updated as regularly and as often as possible, you need to head into the task scheduler still. So let's head over to RAGus.ai and you click on the task scheduler. So we create your first task. Let's type in the task name, for example, RSS scraping task 1. We select the trainer type, so that's for our use case the RSS Reaper it's called. We can describe the task as we want, that's just for us, and we select the configuration. So that's why we've needed in the first place to run the RSS scraper for the first time and create a configuration. Now we can select it and we can automate actually the entire process. So let's click on this RSS scraping demo configuration we've created, and you set up and schedule your frequency. So let's say I can run it daily, or I can run it in intervals. So I can choose intervals, and I can choose, for example, 5 minutes. So 5 minutes from now will the task start running immediately. We enable this task immediately and we create it. After creating the task, it will be enabled. I've actually waited for 5 minutes for the task to run automatically. And now you can see the task has started running. You can also check the logs from the current execution. So the logs should be starting to get populated in any second, basically. And also after the task is done running, you can also view its run history. So anytime you can log into the platform, and you do not need to go to your existing configurations, but you can just go to the task scheduler and you can check the view history. So if for any reason the task has failed, you can just check basically what was the error and you can troubleshoot it later. So yeah, this was the example how to utilize RSS scraper in RAGus, and you can test it, and I hope you will build amazing e-commerce chatbots and all kinds of agents with this.